Welcome back, everybody, to the Westlake Hornets Teambuilder Dynasty here on NCAA Football 14. As today, the season number 11 off-season is here. Last episode, we had the national championship, and our Westlake Hornets made it 2 in a row. We win back-to-back championships, this time beating Tennessee by a score of 29-10, as they just did not play well. Their one touchdown was defensive. Senior quarterback Derek Jefferson did not play well, and Tennessee just was not on their A game. For Westlake, Stephen Westwood, in my opinion, is the game's MVP. He had a big game in the air, also was dominant in the ground game as well with 83 yards and a touchdown. Very nice average, by the way. John Cummings had a very nice end to his freshman year. Jason Gibbs, kind of a disappointing end to his career with the Hornets, but I expect he'll be a first or second round draft pick. In the receiving game, Ulrich Ayuluko, Carter Westwood both played very well. They are both projected to be back this season unless Ulrich declares, which I doubt, but I mean, it could happen. Frank Bray, nice amount of yardage. He'll be a high draft pick. Noah Newton should be a high draft pick. The offensive line, in my opinion, was outstanding. Defensively, Lewis Kahn was outstanding in this game. He's a guy I'm worried about declaring for sure. Marcus Jones played very well, had some sacks from Octavius October and the senior Marcus Shelton. He'll be a big loss for sure. So a very good national championship. We were the better team in this game. We deserved to win it. Volker Gantz also went 3 for 3 on field goals, which is very impressive for his standards, but he also only went 2 for 3 on extra points. Oh well. So before we get to the offseason, I do want to quickly look at stats, All-Americans, awards, stuff like that. So let's look at team stats, starting with the quarterback position. Obviously, there was a QB battle for most of the season. I think it was like the first 8 games, which is over half of the season. Eventually, Stephen Westwood took the job, and he did not look back. Once Westwood was named the starter, he just flat out dominated after that. So Stephen Westwood, he's going to be the guy the next 2 years, once again, bearing him declaring Rodney Allen. I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to transfer for his senior season. Running the ball, John Cummings had a pretty solid rookie season. He was inconsistent. He started off really hot, then kind of cooled down as the season went along, did play well in the national championship. Jason Gibbs was a good change of pace back. Stephen Westwood had a nice year on the ground. The first time we've really had a legit dual-threat quarterback, so that was really fun to have. Receiving, Ulrich Ayuluko and Carter Westwood were both very good. Westwood led us in receptions and touchdowns as a true freshman. And the scary thing with Carter is that he went up 5 overall ratings during the season. That's unprecedented for a non-quarterback. He was an 84 at the beginning of the season. He's an 89 now. I've never seen that for a wide receiver. Ulrich Ayuluko, our only receiver with over 1,000 yards. He finished with 1,003, along with 10 touchdowns. The seniors, Frank Bray, Noah Newton, were solid. Reggie Herman, this is a big year for tight ends because tight ends really don't make a huge impact on this team. Herman had a really good game in the Utah game, even though we lost that one. The O-line, I think, played very well this season for the most part defensively. It was a mixed bag. A lot of good, a lot of bad. Delvin Hines with 24 tackles for loss. Khan with 23. Sacks, 13 for Delvin Hines. This kid was an absolute animal. Please don't declare, buddy. Please don't. We can't lose this kid. He's a generational talent on the defensive line. Absolute monster. Marcus Shelton had a great senior season, capping off a great career. He is definitely going to be missed in the middle of this defense. Ray Johnson with 6 sacks. He had a quiet senior season. His only double-digit sack campaign was during his freshman year. October and Kahn with 4 sacks. Interceptions, not a lot. 3 for Lewis Kahn, 2 for Mac Terry, which was in garbage time of week 1. And then 1 interception for Andy Pina, Marcus Lee, Justin McGee, John Paul Patterson, and Marcus Jones. Kicking, Volker Gantz was, he had his good moments, he had his bad moments. 72% is fairly good. He only missed 5 field goals this year. It feels like he missed a lot more. Missed for 1 extra point in the national championship, of course. Punting, Greg Guillory, didn't have to call his name too often. Kick return, Ulrich Ayuluko with the touchdown, the first play of the season. So back-to-back seasons where Ulrich Ayuluko gets a kick return touchdown in the first play of the season, we end up winning the national championship. Interesting. Very interesting. So the Heisman winner ended up being Brandon Ellis, the running back from Navy, a player who we played against this season, and we actually contained him quite well. He didn't play all that well against us, but this kid, he's special. He's legit. We're going to look at the award winners first. Then we're going to do the All-Americans. The Maxwell goes to Drew Swain. We're really not going to have anybody in the offensive awards because we didn't have a set quarterback all year. None of our running backs or wide receivers really deserve it. Maybe on the offensive line we could have someone. But defensively, we're going to get a ton of awards, including the Bednarik. That goes to Lewis Kahn. Nigel Wiggins' younger brother, Zaire Wiggins, is in second. We all know Nigel Wiggins is a phenomenal football player. Zaire Wiggins here might be even better. This kid is absolutely nasty. Zaire Wiggins is an absolute monster. We wanted to get him in recruiting. He committed to Auburn fairly early in the season. And he's a special talent. He's special. Benagruski went to Delvin Hines, very deserved. Delvin Hines was the best defensive lineman in college football this season. O'Brien went to Kyle Jackson. Okay. Owen Jackson's little broski. Doak Walker went to Brennan Ellis. Fred Biletnikoff went to Chris Herron. He caught the game-winning touchdown in the national championship a couple years ago when Texas beat Alabama, back when Herron was a sophomore. The John Mackey Award goes to Maurice Franklin for a second straight season. This kid is really good. The Outland goes to Alex Parrish. No Westlake Hornets. For Remington also goes to Alex Parrish. No Hornets. So no Hornets eligible for the offensive awards. Lombardi goes to Delvin Hines. That's pretty awesome to see. Shelton and Johnson in the running. The best linebacker, also known as the Owen Jackson Award. This goes to Lewis Kahn. Justin McGee finishes in second. The Jim Thorpe Award goes to Marcus Jones. I mean, I think Zaire Wiggins was better, but Marcus Jones had a really good year. I'm not going to deny that. Marcus Lee in third, Anthony Mitchell in seventh. Andy Pina is not on this list. Good. The Lou Groza goes to Colt Parks. No sign of Volker Gantz. Ray Guy goes to TJ Hill. Best returner goes to Jason Bryant. Ulrich Yaluko finishes in 10th. So that one All-Americans. We'll have quite a few. The elite team, as you can see on that graphic, Westlake leads all teams in the number of All-Americans. That's pretty awesome. So on the first team, we have Josh McClelland on the offensive line. Defense, we're going to have quite a lot. Delvin Hines, Marcus Shelton, Octavius October, Justin McGee, Lewis Kahn, Marcus Lee, Marcus Jones. On the second team, nobody on offense. Wow. Defensively, Anthony Mitchell, and that's it. For the freshman team, John Cummings, no surprise. Carter Westwood, no surprise. Stephen Allen makes it. Anyone on defense? Richard Richards and Mac Terry. Mac Terry only played one half of football. Now, regardless, he had 2 interceptions in that half, but was there no freshman corners better other than Richard Richards? Really? All Pac-12, we got Josh McClelland on the first team along with pretty much our whole defense. Hines. Oh, there's Brendan Flores as well. Along with Hines, October, Shelton, Ray Johnson. I think I said October for him. Justin McGee, Lewis Kahn, Anthony Mitchell, Andy Pina, I don't know how. Marcus Lee, Marcus Jones. And then on the second team, Carter Westwood, Ulrich Yaluko, J.B. Givens, Richard Richards, and John Paul Patterson. Very nice. We do have some new school records broken, including the QB rating in a season. Stephen Westwood has broken the record originally set by Champ Britton a number of seasons ago. Is that the only one? Really? That's the only record that was broken this year. That's pretty impressive. Obviously, we finished number 1 in the nation at the end of the season. That's not really a surprise. Let's take a quick look at the bowl results real quick. In the Westlake Bowl, also known as the Las Vegas Bowl, my Oregon Ducks do defeat Colorado State. Penn State lost to UMass. That's funny. That's quite funny. Any other notable games in here? BYU loses to Oklahoma. Okay, that's interesting. How about the BCS Bowls? In the Capital One Bowl, Ohio State beats Alabama. In the Rose Bowl, Auburn beats Michigan, so the Auburn Tigers finish at number 2. Their only loss came in the SEC Championship against Tennessee. Air Force runs up the score on Baylor, 52-25. Air Force was legit. I mean, Air Force gave us a tougher game in the Pac-12 Championship than Tennessee did in the National Championship. Air Force was a great football team. Texas beats Virginia. Kyle Jackson's career ends off with a win. Army murders Rutgers in the Orange Bowl. Why is Rutgers even in that game? if we're being honest, and then obviously the national championship that we end up winning by the final score of 29-10. So now on to the offseason itself, fellas. Here we go. Oh boy, fellas, get your popcorn ready for players leaving. That's going to be really interesting. That's, in my opinion, the most interesting part of the offseason for me. But we're going to cover coaching changes first off. Then we're going to get to the players leaving, which should be fun. Obviously, Mason Conway won't be going anywhere. He will remain the head coach of Westlake. However, we have two new coordinators. Morris and Brown have both left for new jobs, probably to be head coaches. Our new offensive coordinator is Warren Ruggiero, and our new defensive coordinator is Eric Chinander. Looks like Eric here is a C+, and then Warren is a B-, so neither of them look that special. We're going to have to see where Morris and Brown went. Former Westlake offensive coordinator Chad Morris will be the new head coach of NC State. So after just one season as our offensive coordinator, he will now be a head coach in the American Coastal Conference with the NC State Wolfpack. Ryan Brown, meanwhile, unlike Morris, is a first-time head coach, and Brown here will be going to the Big Ten, where he will be the new head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So NC State and Nebraska, those are two pretty solid schools. I mean, neither of them are powerhouses, but they're two respectable football schools in two of the biggest conferences in college football, two Power 5 conferences. So what levels are our coordinators? Can we see from here? Yes, we can. Eric is a level 18. Warren is a level 16. That's actually pretty good for both of them. So now on to players leaving. Here we go. Who's declaring? Who's transferring? Let's see it. Oh my God. No. No way. Stephen Westwood is declaring for the NFL draft. No freaking way. Wow. Wow. Tim Beck and Curtis Vincent are as well. Neither of these guys were going to start next year. But Stephen Westwood, we're only allowed to convince one more player for the rest of the series to stay if they're declaring. We wasted one last year on Andy Pina. I know this seems like the easy choice to keep Stephen, but I don't know. Rodney Allen will probably want to transfer anyway. So if we don't keep Stephen, this means we're probably going to have to start one of the true freshmen in Marsucio Alteron or Keith Fleming. Two players who I trust both of them. I think they're both good. But this is one I've really got to think over. And Westwood's only a sophomore. He could declare next year, keep in mind. Let's go over the seniors first, starting with Andy Pina. He declared last year. We decided to convince him to return. And I'm saying how I regret it. I mean, he wasn't bad this year. He just had some bad moments. Andy Pina has still had a really solid career for us. Just didn't quite live up to expectations as a senior. He will go in round 1. I think that's fair. I don't think he should go any lower than the second round. So, Andy Pina, he's been a quality player for us the past 4 years. I'm certainly going to miss him, even though he wasn't all that great this year. Jason Gibbs, round 1. This is not a huge surprise considering he is a 99... Jesus, we have 6 first-rounders. I just realized that. Back to Jason Gibbs. He's never really been a starter for us. He had a very weird career. He played as a true freshman back in Season 7. Then it was redshirted in Season 8. Did not touch the ball in Season 9. And then the past 2 years, he has been the change of pace back, putting up nearly identical stat lines in both seasons, with Patrick Daly being the main starter in Season 10, and obviously John Cummings being the main guy this year. So, I think based on his rating, that's why he's going to be a first-round pick. I don't think he should be a first-round pick, but I think he is a fairly decent player. Noah Newton, round 1. Noah Newton, I feel like, was super underused. I mean, this is a really talented player, super fast. He has good hands, good route running, great spec catch. I mean, Noah Newton's really a do-it-all wide receiver, and I just never feel like Westlake's system gave him that proper chance to do it. Now, this is the type of player who usually flourishes in our system, but he was the number 2 receiver on the depth chart this season. I don't know why. He just never had that true opportunity ever since his sophomore season. So, Noah Newton, super talented player. I think he absolutely deserves to go round 1, but I don't know, we just never used him properly. And then Frank Bray, also round 1. This is because of his 98 overall rating. Bray's been a solid slot receiver the past 2 seasons. He's never been a super athletic guy, but he has great hands, great route running, great catch in traffic as well. This is a guy who has phenomenal hands. He's a perfect slot receiver, a guy who runs his routes well and doesn't drop passes. That's exactly what you look for in a guy in the slot. So I think Frank Bray brings you exactly that. Ray Johnson, round 1. He had a dominant freshman year. He's been kind of quiet since then, but I think that's partly because defenses have focused up on him more. Johnson's been a fairly good player the past 4 years. 4-year starter. He is going to be missed, but we do have multiple candidates to be his replacement on the roster. I think the favorite to be the right end next year would be junior Mike Wilson. Lawrence McCoon, round 1. Lawrence McCoon has been the left outside linebacker the past 4 seasons. The left outside linebacker never has a huge role in our scheme, and because of that, McCoon has never been a, per se, key player, but he's been an important starter for us. He's always been there to make a play or two a game, so he's definitely going to be a guy I miss. Round 2, Marcus Shelton. I think Shelton is the best senior on this roster, which A, goes to show you that we've had better senior classes in the past, and B, Marcus Shelton is a phenomenal football player. A guy we started as a true freshman. He has grown and improved every single season, so definitely a guy who I'm going to miss on this team. Derek Berry, round 3. He never really got a full chance to start. He did as I think he was the number 2 defensive tackle as a redshirt freshman. And then after that, never really played since. He is a talented player, though. Jamal Hill, round 5. We decided to put him at quarterback, the final play of the game for senior day. It didn't go very well. Jamal Hill never really got a fair chance with us. He's a talented player. We've just been too good at running back. And then the only players who are graduating but are not getting drafted are Mike Jones and Jeff Brandt. That just goes to show you how much talent there is on this football team. So I've got a decision to make now. Do we convince Stephen Westwood to stay? Westwood would be the final player we are allowed to stay via declaring for the draft, which would mean that if we convince Stephen to stay, we are no longer allowed to convince anyone who's declaring to stay for the rest of the series. So I gotta think this one over. I have made my decision. We're gonna attempt to keep Stephen Westwood. I think he's just too good. I think it would be fun to have a true freshman start next year. Marsucio Alteron and Keith Fleming are both really fun players. But, I mean, this is Stephen Westwood. This is Stephen Westwood. We're gonna guarantee a conference championship. And Stephen Westwood will be sticking around, so Stephen will remain the starting quarterback next season. If he declares next year, we are not allowed to convince him to stay, by the way. So, a lot of players getting drafted this year. Lot. Now it is time for draft results. I assume everybody's going to go in their projected rounds. Yes. So we finished with 6 first-round picks, a school record, a second, a third, and 3 fives. So, very interesting to see there. A lot of draft picks going to the NFL. Let's take a look at the rest of college football real quickly, including Alabama. Rob Harrison, wide receiver, goes in round 1. How about some of our conference foes? Arizona has a few guys. Arizona State has nobody. Army, they might have a few. Yes, first-round safety, Gene Holycross. Auburn, they have a few guys. No Zaire Wiggins, though. I was intrigued to see if he would declare. He is not, so Zaire Wiggins will be staying for his senior season. BYU has a few guys. Fred Campbell, custom recruit, now round 1. Devontae Cook, custom recruit, round 3. And then there's Marcos Vadietz going in round 5. Westlake went after Vadietz, Cook, Campbell, and got none of them. How about Baylor? They have no one. Ouch. That's got to sting. California has a quarterback, Joe Butler, going in the 2nd round. Clemson's bound to have a few guys. Yeah, they do. Including a 99 center going in round 3. Miles Walker. Colorado is nobody. How about Florida? They have a first-round end, Justin Thompson, and then a second-round running back, Corey Dillon Jr., custom recruit. Florida State, they have a bunch of players going, including quarterback Ray Schmidt. He goes in round 7. Georgia has Scott Douglas going in the 3rd. Bunch of third-rounders for Georgia. Illinois, they have a 4th-round safety. How about Indiana? Jackson Kelly's school, they get nobody. Kansas State, Tony Prater goes undrafted. Prater was a 99 overall quarterback, a little bit undersized, more of a scrambler, but wow, he does not get picked. I did not see that coming. I figured he'd get drafted one way or another. LSU has a few guys going in the later rounds. Louisville has a couple guys getting picked. How about Miami? They have a couple late rounders. Michigan, they have a first-round tight end, John Goodman. Michigan State, they have a second-round tackle. NC State, they have a sixth-round safety. Navy, Brandon Ellis does in fact go round 1, very well deserved. Nebraska, first-round defensive tackle, John Walton. North Carolina, they have a few guys, Jonathan Walker. Nevada, I know, had a quarterback, Kyrie Hampton, goes in round 6. He is a custom recruit. Notre Dame, they have Sean Parham, quarterback, round 1. Ohio State, they got to have a few guys. Yes, Tim DeLuca, running back, first round. Oklahoma has nobody. Okay. Oklahoma State has one guy. Oregon has a few players. Penn State has a first-round guard, Chris Parker. How about SMU? Where did that tight end go? Second round for Mo Franklin. South Carolina, they have a few guys getting picked. Stanford, they've got to have a few guys. Lionel Jackson in the 6th round. I thought he'd go higher than that. TCU, nobody. Tennessee, the team we played in the national championship, they get a few guys, but not quarterback Derek Jefferson, who was like a 93 overall. I guess that national championship performance scared some teams off. Texas has 4 first-rounders, including quarterback Kyle Jackson. Texas A&M, they have a few guys going, including a high-level guard. They have a fullback going in round 3. Ouch. That's fun. UCLA, they have a second-round guard, Josh Sanders. Quarterback in the 5th, Andrew Harrison. I am actually not familiar with him. USC has a few guys, including Khalil Corbin in the 3rd round. We went after Khalil Corbin in recruiting a number of years ago. This kid's a baller. He should go round 1 in my opinion. He's a stud. UCLA, Preston Winkleberry, he's a custom recruit. Utah State is nobody. Washington, they have a few late rounders. Washington State is at tight end. How about the Hilltoppers? 5th round, fullback Harold Bunk Salami, 7 foot, 408 pounds. That's a big boy. And then Wisconsin has 1 pick, a first-round linebacker, Ted Carroll. So now it is time for recruiting. Time for recruiting. There are 4 players I'm really eyeing up this year. Obviously, the number 1 player in the country, Big Tuna, Richard Rivers Jr. This kid's a monster. We need him. The other main players I'm looking at are defensive end Buksin Marizov, offensive tackle Zach Duckett, and guard Kyle Harris, trying to beef up the trenches. Our offensive line for the future, in my opinion, is probably the weakest spot on this team. And then, I mean, it's friggin' Big Tuna. And then Marizov's a good player as well. There are a few players down here who are good. William Gross, Josh Mitchell, Mikkel Harrison. But we don't need running backs. Gross is a running back, by the way. Here's a quick look at our current commits. We have the number 1 class in the nation with 3 5-stars. I'm pretty sure we have 3 5-stars at the moment, including quarterbacks Marsucio, Alteron, and Keith Fleming. It would have been fun to have a quarterback battle with them this year, but it looks like we'll have to wait probably until next year. I do anticipate that Stephen Westwood will declare next year. If he doesn't, I would be rather surprised. This is how I will be allocating my points. I honestly don't feel super confident. But we're going to give Big Tuna 5,870. Marizov will get around 3,000. Duckett will get around 2,000. Kyle Harris looking at 4,000. I think it would be a success if we get 3 of these players. I wouldn't be surprised if we only get 1 or 2. We better get Tuna. If not, I'm going to be pissed. But of these 3, I would love to get 2 of them. I'm probably only realistically expecting 1 of them. But hopefully we get some of them to commit, or else I am going to cry inside. Okay, honestly, as long as I get Tuna, I'm not going to be that upset. I do think we need to help the offensive line. We have 0 commits on the offensive line this year. So I feel like we need at least 1 of them. And, okay. So we get Big Tuna, we get Kyle Harris, we don't get Vuksin Marizov, and we don't get Zach Duckett. That's pretty much what I was expecting. I would have loved to have gotten Marizov or Duckett, but it's not the end of the world. We're fairly deep at defensive end. So Kyle Harris and Richard Rivers commit. We end up with the top class in the nation, top class in the conference, another 5-star. Wait, we have 2 more 4-stars? Who else did we get? I didn't scroll down enough to see who we got. Was it a walk-on? A walk-on 4-star? I feel like that can't be right. Hold on. So let's see who else we got. So Marzov, we lose by 90. I took some points off too to give more to Kyle Harris as well. Duckett, we lose by 1,000. Harris, we win by about 900. This pisses me off. Come on. William Gross goes to Memphis. I did not see that coming. Josh Mitchell to Army. Vincent Allen to Wyoming. Mikael Harrison to Ohio State. Dunlap to Kentucky. Chris Stocott to Kansas State. The other player we got was Christian McCutcheon. Okay, that's who it was. I figured that it would probably be him. He's probably not going to get a roster spot. So on to top classes. We obviously ranked number 1 with 4 4-stars. 11 4-5-stars. Sorry, 11 4-stars. We have a 1-star. We have a walk-on. Oh, it's J.C. Godwin. Okay, he's not a walk-on. So our final class consists of Marsucio Alteron, Marlon Chavez, Mo Rogers, Richard Rivers Jr., Isaiah Sparks, Christian McCutcheon, Marion Nicholson, Keith Fleming, Paul Richard, Sheldon House, Louis Venice, David Anderson, Kyle Harris, Bob Adams, Will Herring, Trenton Thompson, I believe his name is. Troy Thompson, Noah Cox, Zebediah Phoenix II, and J.C. Godwin. I'll take it. It is time to decide positions for these athletes. I think I have a good idea of where I'm going to go. Maurice Rogers, the plan for him is going to be wide receiver. He can play in the secondary to an extent, but yeah, he's a wide receiver. Marlon Chavez will also play wide receiver. 80 running back? That's actually not a half bad idea. Half bad, half back, get it? I wasn't even trying to make a pun there. I thought he was going to play receiver, but I mean, we're so loaded at receiver. Him at running back isn't the worst idea in the world. I'm going to have to come back to that one. Bob Adams, sick quarterback. We don't need a quarterback. He's going to play in the secondary. He's an 81 at 3 safety. Hold on. The plan was to put him at corner. I think we're going to do that anyway from now. But he looks like a monster at safety. Problem is we don't need safety. Marion Nicholson, I think he's a running back. 76? Hello! I thought I was just going to flat out cut this guy, but maybe not. So now what do I do with Marlon Chavez? I don't know. I feel like I have to put him at running back because we're so loaded at wide receiver. We have too many good players on this team at receiver. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. I think we're going to put Marlon Chavez at running back. I did not expect to do that today, but that's what we're going to do. Also, we have 1 right end and like 6 left ends. I want to balance this out a little bit. Mike Wilson, you're going to play right end. And then we'll just move David Anderson over to right end. Okay, that's fine. So I'm content with those changes. I don't really think I have to do anything else. So now on to the funnest part of the offseason, as Param Crow would say, training results. Now on to training results. I'm sure Rodney Allen will obviously stay at a 99. I assume Stephen Westwood will go up to a 99. And we might have Marcus Lee join the 99 club. I'm curious to see if all that unfolds. And yes, Rodney Allen, Marcus Lee, Stephen Westwood are all 99 overalls. Let's look at the rest of the team. Wesley Thomas, 87. Coles, 82. Michelic is an 80. Running back, I'm very curious about. Cummings up to an 88. Irving Porter goes up 6. I like that. Porter and Cummings will be the main duo in the backfield this season. Fullback, no, because our only one is J.C. Godwin. Carter Westwood is a 93 as a true sophomore. Ulrey is a 92. Zeke Bowman, 88. Cassius Troy, 86. Wow, Tegan Moon goes up 1 in speed. Dale McBride goes up 2. So with Curtis Vincent leading, that actually opens up an opportunity. Cassius Troy was for sure going to start this season, but now we have a little bit of a position battle, I'm thinking, between probably Zeke Bowman, Tegan Moon, and Dale McBride. That's going to be really fun to see who's wide receiver 4. Tight end, Reggie Herman is an 83. Josh McClellan, 94. I like that. I think we're going to have to keep William Smith again, the 44 overall guard. Centers go up a lot as usual. Brendan Flores to a 94. Givens to an 89. Morton to an 86. I meant to change Morton to a left tackle. I forgot to do that. I'm going to have to do that next offseason, I guess. That's fine. Delvin Hines goes up 5 to a 97. At right end, Mike Wilson, 91. Defensive tackle, October, 93. The other October, 86. Chris Burton, 88. Dylan Washington is an 85. He'll probably be the starter here. Actually, I don't know. We're going to have a battle between him, Nick Lott, Joe Brewer, and Dante Rollins. Lewis Kahn, by the way, is a 96. McGee, 97. Harris and Benson, 84 and 80, respectively. Here's a look at the secondary. Mitchell goes up to a 95 as a junior. He's past John Paul Patterson. Wow. That's pretty interesting. Paul King only goes up 3, but he does have 97 speed now. That's pretty good. Tristan Moon, the twin brother of Tegan Moon, also has 97 speed. Marcus Lee, obviously, a 99. Marcus Jones, 95. Volker Gantz only goes up 2. I hope his kick accuracy went down. Okay, it didn't. He only went up 2, I guess, because his kick power is already maxed out. That would make sense. Guillory at 95. I think his accuracy is maxed out. Yeah, that would make sense. So that is it for training results. I assume the team will once again be 99 offense, 99 defense, 99 special teams, 99 across the board. We have 76 players on the roster. The maximum amount that we can keep is 70. So the elephant in the room is that we would cut William Smith and Christian McCutcheon, and we're going to do that. But the problem is we're losing Arizona and Florida as a pipeline state. Arizona I'm not as sad about, but Florida, that's a big loss. However, I mean, they're not going to play for us. So we need some recruiting challenge, don't we? Troy Thompson, we just don't need him. I'm sorry, Troy. David Patterson, we don't need. And this is where it gets interesting. We have 72 players left. I was going to cut Marion Nicholson, but now that I know he's a 76 at running back, that might not be the plan. I think we're going to cut Norton Michelik. For the storylines, I will create him on another team, so don't worry about that. And then I think we're going to do the same with wide receiver Cedric Gregg. We don't need Cedric Gregg, but he is a custom recruit, and I feel bad about cutting a custom recruit. So we're going to make him a really good player on a different team. Same with Norton Michelik. So that's how we're going to do it. We have cut the roster down to 70. Let's get on to the preseason. Now on to custom conferences. I do want to make a minor change. I would like to move to the Southern Division. I'd like to change it up a little bit, see some different teams. We did not play most of these teams last season. We didn't play UCLA. We didn't play Arizona. We only played Air Force because of the conference championship. Didn't play Arizona State. I don't think we played USC. So, we're going to also move Utah to the South. We can't just not bring Utah with us. So, I think the teams we're going to have move up to the North are probably Cal and Stanford. Or no, Air Force would probably be kind of north if we're being honest. So, I think we're going to have Air Force move to the north. And then I'm going to do some quick geographical research to see who is more north between Cal and Stanford. Okay, so doing after some quick research, by a hair, Cal is more north than Stanford, which I think that's a little bit more fun because Stanford is the better team. So now we get to play all of these teams this season, and then, oh, we have to move BYU as well. I forgot about that. Well, I guess my research was for nothing. Good thing I didn't forget about BYU, or else that would have not been very good. We will be redshirting everybody in this recruiting class except for one player, and I don't think it's the player you would expect. Tight end Paul Richard, and this is because we only have one other tight end on the roster, being Reggie Herman, and I'd like an actual number 2 tight end, not some converted wide receiver. I mean, our tight end 1, Reggie Herman, is already a former wide receiver, so I really need an actual tight end to be playing. Everybody else, including Richard Rivers, is being redshirted for this season. Now, I'm considering having a position battle for defensive tackle number 2. However, I do want the October brothers to start together, Kez and Octavius. So, that's really the main reason why I think we're going to redshirt Tuna. Isaiah Sparks will also be redshirted. He is one of 2 JUCO sophomores who we got, the other one being J.C. Godwin, who is our starting fullback. Here is a look at the depth chart, starting with quarterback. Stephen Westwood is going to be the starter, of course. Now, there is some reports from Rodney Allen's camp that he could look to transfer. Since he has already graduated, he will have a waiver to be immediately eligible to play. So that's something to keep your eyes on for the preseason episode. Running back, it's going to be a lot of John Cummins and Irving Porter with some occasional touches from Drew Harris and Derek Beck. The fullback will be J.C. Godwin. Wide receiver, here's our first position battle. So Carter Westwood and Ulrich Ayuluko are locked in. I'm 99% sure we're going to have Cassius Troy starting. But who will be our other wide receiver? Obviously, the wide receiver 4 has a major role on this football team. Last year it was Carter Westwood. So this is going to be a healthy competition between Zeke Bowman, Dale McBride, and Tegan Moon. Tight end will be Herman and Richard. The offensive line will be the exact same as last year. We do have multiple seniors this year, so that's no fun. Delvin Hines will be the left end. Right end will be Mike Wilson. Defensive tackle will be Octavius and Kez October. Now, I do want to see what Big Tuna can do. I am considering starting him over Kez, but I want both of the brothers to start because that would be fun. Joe Brewer will be the new left outside linebacker. Middle and right will stay the same with Justin McGee and Lewis Kahn. The corners, Anthony Mitchell is now CB1, followed by Patterson, Richards, Harris, and Tristan Moon. Marcus Lee, Marcus Jones will still be the safeties. Special teams, pretty much what you expect. I'm going to have a healthy battle for kick returner number 2. Obviously, Ulrich Ayuluko will be the main guy. It was Carter Westwood last year, but I think there are guys who are better equipped for this role, like Dale McBride, like Tegan Moon, Tristan Moon. So I'm going to be looking at all of them for our second kick returner spot. Punt returner will be Ulrich. Kickoffs will be done by Gantz, not Guillory. And the launch snapper will be Josh McClelland. Here's a look at a schedule I have made here for Season 12. I cannot stress this enough. The non-conference games are not final. This took me about 5 minutes to think of, and I'm not sold on this schedule. However, I do really like the first 2 games. Obviously, our opening game against Utah State, that's pretty much a given. And then Oklahoma. I wanted to play the Sooners this year. I think they have a fun roster. The other non-conference games I'm not as sure about. Versus Georgia State in Week 7, I know they're not very good, but that could be a good tune-up game. And then at Miami, I do think that could be pretty fun. Looking at our conference schedule versus Cal, they got a quarterback going on between a pair of custom recruits, by the way. Senior Jeremy Watson and junior Breon Anthony, both of whom are 95 overalls. That's something to keep your eye on. At Oregon versus USC. At Utah, at number 6, UCLA. I didn't realize they were that good. At Arizona versus Arizona State. And then senior day will be against BYU. We always play BYU the final week of the season. I don't know why that is. I mean, that's fun because it's a rivalry game, but I don't know why. That's just a weird coincidence. But that'll end the off-season. Season number 12 is going to be a very fun one. I'm going to be working hard on these custom recruits the next couple of days. I'm going to be talking it over with the Discord about the custom schedule because obviously I'm not sold on it, as you can see. But yeah, it's going to be a really fun season. I'm super excited for it, and I hope you are too. Peace out.